If it's peace and tranquility you're after, you'd think the rolling hills of Somerset would be the perfect location to set up home. Surrounded by farmland and country parks, the elegant properties in the market town of Yeovil were the only choice for one growing family.
We liked the house, we really liked the house. The place was Victorian and it was original. We loved that era.
9 years ago, when Sue and Guy de Roper and their 4 children found their dream home, they were over the moon.
We just wanted to get in and sorted as quick as we possibly could. Just unpacked, basically, and went to bed.
But that first night in the new house, they didn't get the peaceful sleep they were hoping for.
I think it was during that night, and it was kind of a, what's going on? As the nights went on, it just became more apparent that, you know, there was a big chicken problem somewhere.
Although the de Ropers could hear chickens, at first they weren't sure where they were.
It's very difficult to find out where the source of it was coming from. But luckily, one of the neighbours sort of introduced herself. She took us into her house and showed us her back garden. It was then that we discovered who owned the chickens.
What was meant to be their dream home was now turning into a nightmare.
We've got this lovely place that we're in, accommodating everyone, everyone's comfortable, but what have we done?
It was now clear to the de Ropers that their garden bordered a neighbour's yard that was overrun with chickens. That neighbour was Peter Studley, and his chickens were running wild throughout his backyard and across neighbouring gardens and alleys.
Well, I suppose when de Ropers moved in this house, I suppose there was 100+ chickens and cockroaches.
69-year-old Somerset local, Mr. Studley, was already known in the town as something of a character.
Oh, I think Mr. Studley's got a bit of a bad boy reputation.
Who divided opinion among the residents.
But he's been absolutely fine with me.
Morning, Mark. How are you this morning?
Fine, thanks, you right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Just a lot of people don't like him, and that's all there is to it.
So your normal Pete?
Yes. Thank you. Getting thinner and thinner, Mark.
Always does though, doesn't it, eh? No good news. However, knows Pete, you know, he's always ducking and diving, wheeling and dealing.
Thank you, Mark.
Cheers, mate.
I suppose I am, in my own way, a good neighbour because I don't get involved with them. You know, I let people do what they want to do and I'll do what I want to do. There ain't no problem there.
When Mr. Studley purchased the carpet shop and the flat above it in the town centre, he also gained a few chickens that had been left behind by the previous owner.
Somebody moved out and left the chicken there. You know what I mean? But I always thought somebody were going to come back for them, but nobody come back for them. I grew up on a farm, a big farm when I was a kid. Animals were lovely, I liked it, like, you know what I mean? I really do. You appreciate what life is all about, you know what I mean?
Under Mr. Studley's nurturing wing, the army of chickens began to grow.
Used to come back with bags of bread and bags of corn, and I used to just chuck them on the floor. Chuck them on the floor. And they used to come and pick it. And they'd be all round me, up on me lap and everywhere. That's how tame they were.
The chickens may have been tame, but to the de Ropers next door, they were ruining their dream home.
Welcome to our little garden. This was completely out of bounds to everyone at the time of the chickens. It was absolutely a shocker when we first saw this. The whole of this area was just, it looked like a scrapyard with chickens on it.
It's a description Mr. Studley doesn't dispute.
It was not a garden. It was a waste dump. You couldn't do nothing. It was out of control, really, you know what I mean?
Not only did we have eggs dotted around, which you could see had been there for a long time, we also had carcasses dropped around, usually covered in maggots. Some of the chickens would be eating the carcasses.
I didn't leave dead carcasses about. I used to pick them up there and chuck them in a bin liner and chuck them out with a rubbish dust cart.
The smell that used to hit us from an egg cracking, and you knew it was a rotten egg, was absolutely atrocious. I have physically been in the garden before and an egg is cracked and I've had to run inside gagging.
And it wasn't just the stench from the rotting eggs and carcasses. There were other unwelcome animal intruders.
We've seen rats in this area and we've seen rats coming down our back alley, going all the way round the back.
I got on all right with the rats. I mean, a rat ain't gonna bite you unless you try to do something to them.
I don't think Stoodley cared about hygiene. I don't think Stoodley cared about the interference it was causing the neighbours. He was just being completely selfish about the whole matter.
The DeRoper's dispute with their neighbour was about to take a menacing turn.
I'm not being funny. This is my answer to that. Leave. Find somewhere else to live.
For many householders, living in close quarters to neighbours is a fact of life. But for residents on a Dagenham estate, including one who asked not to be identified, it was totally unbearable.
You live in a commercial block of flats. They're not brilliantly made. They have quite thin walls.
Back in 2010, a particularly noisy neighbour would reveal just how thin the walls were.
It was severe bass. The bass was quite bad and it was horrendous music.
And in the opinion of some neighbours, it wasn't just the loud music that was the problem.
By the way he portrays himself and the way he acts makes me think that he is threatening. And that's why I've actually never gone round there. But many times I've thought of going up there and saying something, but then I think, if I go up there and he turns on me, how am I going to deal with that?
It turned out that the noise nuisance was a young rapper called Elvis Tarasenze, who once topped the charts in Kenya.
Situation messed up. Was mum's words early morning getting dressed up. I stretched out, flat broke, and guess what? Them feds nicked out my boy and said I'm next up. I've been here for what, almost 4 years now. I'm called Elvis because of my dad. He used to be a big fan of Elvis. He had all the wigs and the costumes and you know, the big old records and stuff.
But this Elvis turned his back on his dad's blue suede shoes in favour of more modern music.
I'm into R&B, rap, dancehall. I've been through ups and downs here and there, and obviously got in trouble with the police and stuff. And at the time, I used to, you know, walk around in gangs of groups. I had a community studio where I'd go there and make music. So I saw that studio as a way to make me better.
But for his neighbours, this rapper's love of making music wasn't doing much to improve their situation, especially when he began making it at home.
Got myself a job and worked there for a few months, saved up a little bit of money, and I started buying my equipment. Obviously, I needed the speakers and I needed the mixer to mix and normalize my beats and stuff. And yeah, I needed a microphone, obviously, to record my sound and stuff and mix it up.
Elvis was creating music and uploading it onto the internet in a bid to get discovered.
I've been through the ups and I've been through the struggle and I've been through a mad emotional roller coaster. I'll play my music around probably 6 till probably 11, around them times, because I know that's the times that I can't play music past 11 o'clock because it's written in black and white in my tenancy agreement. If I'm playing music then I have my music in my headphones and I'm either producing or just laying out some vocals, and that's it.
Although Elvis swears he didn't make noise after 11 p.m, his neighbour disagrees.
Sometimes it wouldn't start till 1 a.m, so you'd think, oh yeah, peace and quiet for one night. And then suddenly, when in bed, it would start and you'd be like, what?
She immediately complained to the council and the rapper received an official visit.
I had a knock on the door, and obviously there was this guy from the council. He said he was from the noise nuisance team, whatever they're called. This was like 6 o'clock in the evening. I opened up the door and he must have said to me that he must have had a complaint from a neighbour that I was playing loud music. Obviously, I turned down the music at the time. And few weeks after, probably 3-4 weeks later, I got a letter from the council saying that I had been causing a nuisance all through and I'm basically a music terrorist.
The neighbour had continued to complain to the council about the noise, but despite their letter, Elvis didn't appear to be taking them seriously.
He was one time outside. The music had stopped, so he was on his balcony. I actually heard, "I will go a cappella," and he started rapping to himself and his friends.
It's something Elvis denies.
Rap with my mates on the balcony to annoy my neighbours. I mean, come on. I won't even go I might as well just go and do a show or something.
By now, though, Elvis had become public enemy #1 and would get another unwelcome visit.
I opened up the door and I was the guy from the council because he had his badge on.
It looked like the rapper was about to be unplugged. In Somerset, the DeRoper family were dealing with their own noisy neighbours.
Some people might think, well, you get used to it, but you don't.
But these noisemakers were of a feathered variety.
Every cockerel that crows are like fingernails down a blackboard.
A row was brewing over neighbour Peter Studley's 120 chickens running wild in the backyard next door to the DeRopers.
The thing is about chickens, cockerels and stuff like that, it's not constant, it's sporadic. Your body tends to put itself in a full sense of security and you relax, and then suddenly it's and you're like, there it goes again, and you can't get away from it.
The DeRopers' lives were becoming unbearable.
As far as your eyes could see in this whole area, there was nothing but chickens.
But despite the DeRopers' complaints that the chickens were making their lives a misery, their owner Peter Studley disagreed they were a nuisance.
No, I never had no difficulties sleeping with them. They never used to make no noise in the middle of the night anyway.
For the DeRopers, though, the chickens were making every part of their home life a nightmare.
Well, the pressure it was putting on us is we actually felt like caged animals. And you looked out the window and there were some animals out there that had the free roam. So we were the ones that were being caged when it was actually the cockerels that should have been caged.
Living next door to over 100 chickens had become a hellish nightmare. But next door in his flat,
This is my bedroom in here.
their neighbour still didn't think there was an issue.
These suitcases all full up with clothes that I never chuck nothing away because I might need it one day. And this is my videos, mostly train videos, engines, steam engines. I'm very happy here. I've no worries and I'm happy.
Mr. Studley may have ignored their complaints to him about the chickens, but the DeRopers weren't prepared to give up on their dream home.
We decided that the house was lovely and we shouldn't be put off by an aggravating noise.
Believing that their neighbour wasn't properly looking after the chickens, the DeRopers reported them as being maltreated.
When we originally contacted the RSPCA, we were hoping that they'd see the state of the land over there and actually rehome them, give them to somebody in the country who was quite happy to look after all these chickens and cockerels and give them a proper life with proper food and proper facilities for a happy and healthy life, not leave them in a fly-tipping yard.
Unfortunately for the family, the authorities decided Mr. Studley hadn't been neglecting his chickens.
When the RSPC lady used to come, she said, oh, well, they were looked after. So, I mean, they had running water, they had plenty of food, you know, and plenty of room to run around on, you know what I mean? So.
At their wits' end, the DeRopers now tried a different attack and called the council about the constant bird noise. They were asked to record every cluck and crow the chickens were making.
The noise in this room was absolutely horrendous. Environmental health guys gave us a clicker. Every time the noise came along, you press the clicker and it recorded for a certain amount of time. The clicker, it seemed like it was going all night. It seemed like I was pressing it literally every second of the night. I can't remember the precise figure, but it just felt like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clicks all through that night.
At last, it seemed like the family had the evidence they needed for the council to give Mr. Studley a noise abatement order.
We never heard how many crows an hour we got with it.
They just said that it was enough.
Yeah, they didn't really
to
go into
warrant
depth.
the noise abatement.
The DeRopers believed the order would end their nightmare, but the battle with Mr. Studley over the chickens wasn't finished.
This was the initial stages of the whole procedure, but it was completely ignored by Mr. Studley.
Nobody gave me this abatement order. I found it, right? And I chucked it straight, looked at it and laughed and chucked it in the bin. A joke. I thought it was a joke.
At that point, you know, environmental health probably didn't know which way to turn. So rather than everything being sorted, it just went on and on and on.
With the official order falling on deaf ears, in the weeks that followed, the DeRopers would see their neighbours' defiance turn to hostility.
I wasn't going along with rubbish like that. I can't believe that there's such a thing. Neighbours should mind their own business. Indeed, they should.
In 2007, retired scientist Pamela Booth said goodbye to the hustle and bustle of a busy town in search of a quieter neighbourhood.
I really did need to move somewhere where I felt more comfortable, where I could enjoy the community.
She relocated to a picturesque village on the Isle of Anglesey, North Wales.
Isn't it friendly, the island?
Beautiful place. I wouldn't live anywhere else.
The people are lovely.
Don't tell anybody else, girl.
No.
They'll all want to come.
I know, I know. When I first moved, I thought, really, this is going to be home. There was the freedom to move around, there was the freedom for my 5 dogs and my 9 cats. I love my animals. Can you tell?
Pamela's best friend Linda is a regular visitor.
Yeah, this is lovely, isn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? She's always amazed that I can leave my keys in the door. She expressed concern at first, but now she got quite happy with it.
One day, the two ladies met Pamela's new neighbour outside her house.
I opened the door and there was a lady stood there. I didn't know who she was. And she said to me, she said, I'm Pamela's neighbour. She pointed out to both of us that the car had a puncture.
Which presented us as being all women with a problem.
The neighbour lives just 7 doors up from Pamela's house.
Because she offered to help us get the tyre off and get us back on the road. We thought, oh, lovely, what a nice neighbour. That's really, really good.
She seemed really lovely. I thought she was a really nice person.
Having seemingly friendly neighbours she could count on was also important to Pamela as she suffered from bad health.
In about 2005, I was diagnosed with a very rare autoimmune illness. With the osteoarthritis that I have in my legs as well and my hips, it makes me very unstable because the medication I take affects my bones and muscles as well.
With her best friend Linda living 140 miles away, Pamela came to rely more and more on her new friend.
She said, what type of jobs have you got piling up? And I said, well, I need some painting done outside on the patio. She painted the shed. I mean, it was really nice. I really did think, you know, with doing a job like this and just rolling your sleeves up, I had a really good friend.
In return, Pamela regularly welcomed her new friend into her home.
She told me, really. She was very cold because she couldn't afford the oil to put in her heating. And I said, well, you're very welcome to come and sit here, you know, with your knitting or what have you, or use the broadband connection. I really wanted to be a good friend, you know, and to help her. It doesn't hurt, does it, to help somebody every now and then?
But best friend Linda wasn't so sure about Pamela's helpful neighbour.
I was concerned when I found out that she'd been spending a lot of time down here, hours on end. When you said to me she'd no oil for her eating, she'd no eating on at all.
No,
and I actually said to you, do you feel used? And you actually said, didn't you, well, as far as I'm concerned, we're helping each other.
Yeah.
She's staying warm here.
Yeah.
As their friendship grew, Pamela became more trusting.
She'd taken on board the fact that I'd leave the keys in the door. And I think she also realised if she called out, Pam, I'm here, I'm just going to use the broadband, is that all right? She just used, and I had no suspicions that she was doing anything else.
But in July 2013, Pamela made a worrying discovery.
So I came down the stairs to get my purse. I opened this side of my wallet where I keep my debit card, and it had gone. So I thought, well, don't panic, I'll go to the car in case it had just slipped out of my purse. I checked the front, and then I checked behind the driver's seat just in case it had fallen through. When I came back and I rang the bank, they asked me what time I'd used it and when was the last time I'd used it, and I told them I'd used it on the Thursday, and they said, well, it had been used again on the Monday to make a withdrawal of £60 from Llangatho Post Office. Well, I told them there was no way that could be me. They cancelled the debit card because obviously they didn't know where it was. And they advised me to ring the police. That was the start of all the problems.
Pamela reported the card had been stolen, but it was what happened next that really shocked her.
I received a phone call from the police.
They revealed the thief was closer to home than Pamela expected, causing trouble in the neighbourhood.
I am not insulting you, I'm merely asking for the truth.
Down in Somerset, trouble was afoot. The De Roper family had had enough of cocks crowing all night and feeling imprisoned by the health hazard outside. Their neighbour Peter Studley's passion for poultry had wrecked their new dream home. After they complained to the council, he was served with a noise abatement order.
I thought that, well, that's it. It's all over. Yeah, how wrong was I?
But Mr. Studley refused to abide by it.
Nothing but a load of rubbish.
For the next 18 months, their neighbour and his chickens continued life as before. But for the De Ropers, the daily disturbances and lack of sleep was tearing the family apart.
It put a strain on our relationship because it ended up being just a constant battle to try and make things right. It can put you in a very, very low mood, anxious, you know, to the point you feel that you want to give up.
As the dispute escalated, the De Ropers began to feel intimidated by Mr. Studley himself.
Mr. Studley would be looking from that window there, which you can't see now, it's overgrown. But it always felt very intimidating. He not only had the look over all of this land, but he could see right into our back garden to what we were doing.
You're sat in your living room watching your TV, and obviously my view is straight out of the back. And then all of a sudden, right in your line of sight, looking back in at you, is a man standing at the end of your garden, bearing in mind the garden's, what, 15 feet long? It's quite intimidating.
Always let people know what you're about. Say, for instance, when you're down the garden, you know, just sort of have a look round and look through the window, and you see when they're out there, or he's behind the curtain. They cause trouble for me, basically. So why should I have to be a nice man today?
Unconcerned his actions might simply strengthen the DeRoper's case against him, Mr. Studley decided to reach out to his neighbours in his own special way.
We had a handwritten letter that was delivered through the door.
The gist of it was like, I'm keeping my eye on you or something, and if you want trouble, you've stirred up or you've gone to the wrong person or something. It was really quite general, wasn't it? It was just a general... Well, it wasn't a, hello, welcome to the neighbourhood, I'm your neighbour. I'd like to introduce myself.
Please come round for a cup of coffee. It wasn't one of those.
No, it wasn't.
It was signed, it was P, scribbled out, and then the chicken owner.
Guy was quite angry when he read the letter, and he didn't want to tell me because he knew that I'd been feeling a little bit threatened.
I did write a letter to the Ropers, but I never put no threats on it letter. Are you with me? I never put no threats on.
It was just insults?
Basically, yes.
Mr. Studley may have seen nothing wrong with his letter, but its consequences would be far-reaching. After relocating to a small rural village in North Wales,
Baby Jane, baby, come on.
Pamela Booth had become good friends with her seemingly helpful neighbour.
She painted the shed. I mean, it was really nice. I really did think, you know, doing a job like this and just rolling your sleeves up, I had a really good friend.
But when Pamela discovered her bank card was missing and reported it to the police, her worst fears were confirmed.
I received a phone call from the police saying that they arrested her and taken her to the police station, and they showed her footage of CCTV both inside and outside the post office at Llangafo. She was withdrawing the £60 and she was driving my car.
Learning it was her neighbour who had stolen her debit card left Pamela and her friend Linda astounded.
I mean, I was just shocked. I couldn't believe it.
Well, I couldn't believe it.
We didn't want to believe it, did we? We didn't want to believe that she'd taken your card and used it to withdraw money, and that was just... Then it all just spiralled, didn't it, from there?
Pamela's trust had been betrayed, leaving her in a state of shock.
It just made me feel so totally numb. I have never, ever felt like that.
And Pamela couldn't escape the fact that she was living on the same street as her betrayer, who has declined to tell her side of the story.
I noticed many a time behind the blinds that she was looking out, and I thought, well, you know, if I'd done something like that, I wouldn't want to be looking at the person I'd done it to. You know, I thought that was wrong.
Worried that the £60 might not be the only money stolen from her, Pamela decided to check her bank statements.
I knew that some of these withdrawals definitely weren't mine. I cried, and that was the first time, really, I'd lost all the numbness that I'd had. And I thought, well, the best thing to tackle this is to go through them all, write down all the information I needed, where it was taken out from and everything else, and the amount. When I came to January and there was these 3 withdrawals, and then later on through the summer months there was this huge withdrawal of £180. I've never looked at anything so distressing in all my life.
Over a period of 10 months, her neighbour had stolen Pamela's bank card on 14 occasions, taking a total of £1,074 from Pamela's bank account, a significant amount of money for retired Pamela.
I just couldn't believe that somebody could be so clever and so deceptive. I just wish I'd never even said hello to her in passing in a friendly way. I wish I'd had nothing at all to do with her. No matter how hard a life you've got, you don't betray a friend. You never betray a friend.
Distraught at her treatment, and with winter's huge fuel bills on the horizon, the situation was looking desperate for Pamela.
Yes, my house had previously been warm, but it certainly wasn't going to be, you know, over this winter, unless I could get some more money together.
In Dagenham, it was looking desperate too. Elvis was driving his neighbours crazy with his passion for music.
I've been through the ups and I've been through the struggle.
Can't even describe how loud it was.
Following complaints from his neighbours, Elvis had already had one visit from the council asking him to keep his music down. But they were soon back for more.
He said to me that he had someone complain about me playing loud music. And he said to me that he didn't find any nuisance at the time when he came. Then I even asked him, I was like, do you think I'm making loud music with the door open? You know what I'm saying? He was like, no. And he just left. And as soon as he left, I just closed my door and I just went back to my beat making, really.
Although the council officer couldn't find an issue, Elvis's neighbours definitely did.
Bass was a big problem, obviously, because it made your walls vibrate. But I could hear his music in every single room in my home. Even in the bath, I could still hear the bass and feel it when my head was under the water. So even that didn't block out the sound.
But the ever-passionate Elvis just didn't believe there was a problem.
These walls are really thick walls, so I don't see how music travels from here to the other side. I wouldn't say they'll vibrate the next room.
But his neighbour was adamant it was keeping her awake at night.
Sometimes it wouldn't start till 1 a.m, so you'd think, oh yay, peace and quiet for one night. And then suddenly, when in bed, it would start and you'd be like, what? Mostly early hours of the morning. It was quite a lot of an evening, probably between 9 p.m. and 4 a.m.
Elvis denies the allegation, though.
Would you ever start the music at 1 a.m?
Never.
And unrepentantly carried on.
I'm trying not to get stressed because the system is a mess.
But desperate to get some peace, his neighbours continued to complain to the council.
Have a little bit of respect for other people, that's what he needs. And obviously he doesn't.
The council received 82 complaints. And in January 2012, Elvis hit the big time with a noise abatement order demanding him to stop.
I really didn't see the need to go to the council and start pointing fingers like they did to me.
Indignant, the rapper carried on. And over the next 18 months, the council made 15 visits to Elvis's flat.
I opened this envelope, and what I found in it was a letter that told me that I had to go to court. So obviously I was a little bit, because I was thinking, you know, what am I going to court for?
For Elvis, it was time to face the music. And on the 13th of September 2013, he appeared in Havering Magistrates Court.
I just went to court with the truth. And the truth being, I wasn't causing no one a nuisance. So I didn't really get what they were talking about.
He was given a 3-month conditional discharge for 3 breaches of a noise abatement order and fined £1,000.
I just left the courtroom and whatnot, and I signed this little piece of paper to say that I'm going to be paying that money back every 2 weeks and whatever. Yeah, man, that was that.
Elvis's music career had stalled, but for his neighbour, things were looking better.
Now he's stopped the music, I lead a much happier life. Now I can go to work, come home, relax and go to bed when I want.
But the rapper is determined not to be defeated and has set up a new studio at his brother's house a mile away.
You know, and just be coming here and still do my music as I always did.
Even though it might be quieter on the estate now, at least one of his neighbours feels that Elvis isn't the noise nuisance he was made out to be.
I'm next door to you. My room is obviously right next to your living rooms. I hear the music, I can hear things, but it doesn't bother me. From their point of view, I can extend it to a certain extent. I can understand why they would get angry with the noise. If you have a studio in the middle of a residential area, certain people will get upset. But if I had an issue, I would simply knock on his door, say, Elvis, it's a little bit loud, I've got to work in 2 hours, can you please turn it down a bit? I know for a fact he would say, not a problem, I'm sorry, and he would do that. But it's when certain people think that they have to take it to higher authorities, then that's when naturally you're going to feel upset and defensive. So I fully understand his plight.
Elvis is still maintaining his innocence.
I know I'm no angel, neither am I Satan.
But with a conviction already, he runs the risk of an even stiffer penalty in future.
It's like I say, this music is my addiction, you get me? I'm addicted to it. And this music is not gonna stop ever, you get me?
Coming up, the Anglesey theft divides the community.
I understand you've been saying in the village that you have a lot of sympathy for her.
Yes, I have.
And it's the beginning of the end as Mr. Studley battles the courts.
So don't worry too much of what they say or what the court dishes out to me.
On the picturesque island of Anglesey, North Wales, retired Pamela Booth had found out that her supposedly helpful neighbour had in fact been robbing her of her savings.
Oil is expensive, but every year I top up my oil tank. Obviously, I was not going to be able to do that this year, you know. Yes, my house had previously been warm, but it certainly wasn't going to be, you know, over this winter, unless I could get some more money together.
On the 31st of October 2013, her neighbour pled guilty to 14 counts of fraud by false representation. She was given a 12-month community order and 100 hours of unpaid work.
She had to pay me back the full amount. It was decided at the court at that time that she would pay the money back at £5 a week. The thought that somebody can gain so much from taking so much from somebody and then get away with paying £5 a week, to me, that is a slap on the wrist. And bearing in mind that I have an incurable life-threatening illness, and it's going to take her over 4 years to pay this money back, well, I could be dead.
Pamela still lives only 7 doors away, but has yet to find out why her neighbour stole from her.
I think she's either hiding or not in.
What do you think she's doing?
I think she's hiding. I'm wondering what she is thinking about what she has done.
And although Pamela was the victim, it appears to have split opinion in the village where she lives.
I understand you've been saying in the village that you have a lot of sympathy for her.
Yes, I have.
Why? Would you like to
She's an
explain?
unfortunate lady.
You do? Why? What do you think to me as the victim? I
I
mean...
feel sorry for you as well.
But you haven't expressed that in the village.
Do?
Well, I think if you're taking one side in the village...
I'm not taking sides.
Well, it felt as if you were when people said you'd been into the shop.
Being very rude.
I'm not being rude at all.
Please don't insult me.
I am not insulting you. I'm merely asking for the truth.
People's property.
I aren't on your property. Well, obviously, I'd known all along that I was never going to get the money back. It was only going to be a pittance every week. And I was really worried about how I was going to manage to fill my oil tank. And I had such a lot of bone and muscle pain with being cold. And then the phone call came.
After seeing a newspaper article on Pamela's troubles with her neighbour, a local couple decided to anonymously give £500 to help her through the winter months.
Could have danced in the street if I'd have been able to. I really could. Really, really restored my trust in people.
Although the couple's kindness revived her faith in Anglesey's community spirit, Pamela's less trusting than before.
Pamela now locks the door. She's changed the locks on the doors, and it's back to how it was, really, when we used to live down in West Yorkshire.
But there's one neighbour she'll never invite into her home again.
And she's lost such a lot. Not only have I lost a friend, but she has lost more than she'll ever know.
In Somerset, the De Roper family had moved into the home of their dreams, only for it to turn into 4 years of chicken hell.
It was hideous. It was absolutely hideous.
But the problem became more than just the chickens, when their owner, Peter Studley, made direct contact with his neighbours by writing them a letter.
The gist of it was like, I'm keeping my eye on you or something, and if you want trouble, you've stirred up or you've gone to the wrong person or something.
That was the final straw for the De Ropers, who reported Mr. Studley's behaviour to the South Somerset District Council. He was ordered to appear before a magistrate to find a solution to the dispute and the chicken problem. It looked like the De Ropers might get rid of their noisy neighbour.
Obviously, at that point, I kind of felt a little bit of relief because, you know, I knew at that point that it was, you know, a matter of time now before it was going to be all over.
They're making up all this stuff, But the trouble is, they've realised now that I don't worry two hoots of what they say or what the court dishes out to me. My sound advice from the developers is to just leave me alone.
When the court date came, Mr. Studley didn't attend, and he was awarded an ASBO for him and his chickens in his absence.
He had to get rid of all animals and not cause any intimidation.
It looked like the DeRopers had achieved what they wanted, but the 120 chickens didn't leave without a fight.
As you can imagine, because the chickens are free roaming all in this area, it went on for months, and it was always the case that we knew that there was going to be one cockerel left.
The noisy hell continued as charities and animal lovers fought to catch Mr. Studley's chickens.
I said, I believe, I will celebrate when the last one is removed.
Been causing trouble for me because that's basically all they done. And for the poor old chicken had to go. So, you know, as you get rid of an 100-odd chicken, it would have been better if it was got rid of they and kept the chickens. You know what I mean?
Finally, 6 weeks after being given the ASBO, all 120 chickens had been removed. The DeRopers' longed-for silence now reigned.
It was lovely to sort of have a full night's sleep. The area outside where they were, it's all full of birds and, you know, nature. And probably for the first time in a few years, we were able to sort of go outside and drink tea and coffee in the morning when we get up in the sun in the garden, which is absolutely brilliant.
Nevertheless, a shadow continues to hang over the family's peaceful lives. 5 years after Mr. Studley's ASBO, who knows if life will change once again.
I believe the ASBO has ended now. I'm just waiting now for the chickens to reappear.
But Peter Studley is never that predictable.
The pigs are coming now. That's all I got to say about it. I got to have the pigs now.
Next time, a neighbourly dispute over money gets blood boiling in a Cotswold street.
It was like an elastic band snapping. Something had just made me very, very angry.
Things get nasty between two Bristol neighbours.
Every day I get a call from Collins, tell me he's going to slash my throat.
And menacing threats are in the air in Northampton.
His response was, well, you better hope I'm not evicted because I've got friends and they'll come after you.